there has never been a denial or dispute from Commissioner Chism about whether or not he voted on these matters. He in fact voted. We said that from the very beginning. The only issue is whether or not that vote was improper. And so to the extent that the county has the burden of proving that he somehow had an interest in these contracts, we can zero in on that issue, and this panel can proceed to adjudicate this matter.
And let me just say that we've been proceeding under this commission's rules, and I understand that, for better or for worse, this is the first time that this panel has been so assembled to have a hearing. And so the procedural issues that are outlined, we've been dealing with as best we can. This panel asked us to produce proposed findings of fact and have them submitted to you by January 20th, which we both did. The proposed findings that we are stipulating to today were communicated to this panel. They're reflected in the document that we filed, which we provided to the county as well. One would have to look at each one of them, proposed findings from Commissioner Chism and proposed findings from the county, to see where there is agreement, so to speak. There simply wasn't an opportunity before now, and that's why I suggest that we do it to try to streamline the process, to look to see exactly where we're in agreement versus where we're not in agreement. You know, the place where we're not in agreement is whether or not any of these votes taken by Commissioner Chism in any way affected his financial pocketbook. That's where we're not in dispute. That's where we're not in agreement, and that's what is at the heart of this hearing today.
First case over the county ethics code needs to send the message that when you have this kind of personal interest in something, and when all the county ethics code is asking you to do is tell the members of the public at the time of the vote, hey, so that you can know, I have this interest, my wife has this interest. In this type of case, that's really important because that's a combined level of interest that the entire family's means of support is coming from this business. But I'm going to vote based on my conscience, or I'm going to vote based on what I think is right, and then cast the vote. When that's all that the county ethics code at minimum requires, this panel has to rule that this is a problem. This panel has to rule that this was a violation. Because if this panel does not do that, then the message that we're going to send to public officials in the county is that this is a toothless ethics code, and that we are not going to hold people to even a high standard, much less the highest of standards.